All right, now any of us out there that have shot any real thing realize pretty much on the first set we've ever been on that getting a battery solution and power control for your camera is going to be one of the essential, never-ending quests for us as we are setting up cameras. Now, SmallRig is a company that traditionally is a company that helps filmmakers solve and overcome common problems on set with great gear and rigs and everything else that they have. But they've recently been expanding into another area that's always in need, obviously, and that is they've started to address battery solutions through their line. They got some great V-mounts, and now they have something new, and that is they've introduced their take on the ubiquitous Sony NP battery. And this is the SmallRig NP-970 battery. And this is a really, really cool thing. If you're a filmmaker, I think this is something that you should probably know about this, just so you're aware. Now, full disclosure, SmallRig did send me a unit for review. I'm not being paid for this. They don't get to review it anyway. They just wanted to send me a couple batteries and see what I thought about that. And that's what I'm gonna do. Now, that being said, traditionally I have used a ton of SmallRig equipment. I love SmallRig equipment. You can probably look right here on the cages on my cameras and see that. So it's really interesting to see how they approach something like the Sony NP. Now, the good thing about the Sony NPs versus V-mounts and other things like that is these are extremely ubiquitous. So coming up with a battery that's so universal and used is a great thing, but SmallRig being SmallRig did add some interesting wrinkles to this that made this like a NP battery on steroids, I guess. So it is something that I think will change the way you use this very, very common battery. And that's what I want to kind of take a look at today, what this battery does and what it does well. Now, as I started off saying, because this is a Sony basic NP battery, you can see it's got that Sony NP mount there right on the back. This thing can basically be plugged in to a lot of your existing equipment without any additional mounts, add-ons, or cables. This thing just slips right in. And, you know, I have an Athens Ninja. Ooh, that's scraping. I'm gonna put right here, and as you can see, I can slip this, boom, right there on the back. Now, one thing I found interesting about this is SmallRig actually made 3 colors of this battery. They made an orange one, they made a green one, and they made a black one. I guess this is just one of those things that lets you kind of get your vibe on what they said. But I also think that having different colored batteries actually solves a second big problem, and that is this. By color coding batteries like this, if you had 2 or 3 of these on set, you would always know where you were on your situation. I tend to number my batteries, and I wouldn't have to do this because I know orange battery's out, it's time to go to green, green's on the charger, picking up the black, I know that's good. So having kind of a color-coded system like this, I think is an interesting situation because you do use a lot of Sony NP batteries pretty much on any set, and having this color coding is a pretty cool situation to have. Now, as you can see, this is essentially a power brick, and this thing packs a lot of power. This is a 76.3 watt hour, 10,500 milliamp battery, which means you can power a lot of stuff with it. And as a matter of fact, you can look, I have a 50 watt V-mount battery that I use for my Canon R5C a lot, and this battery has more capacity than a V-mount. So this thing has a ton of energy. They actually say you can run an Athens for 3.5 hours at full power with it. So this thing really, really packs a punch. Now, while this thing packs a lot of power, that is not where its trick stops. This actually has a couple more up your sleeve, which I think is something that is really, really cool to look at. The first is, if you look here, it's got kind of this black sheet front to the front, and if you look, if I touch it, it'll tell me what my power is. I got the black one at 67%. I can touch this, tell you exactly that's at 72%. Let's say I want to come and check over this real quick. Boom, I can see now what my power level is. All this stuff is a really, really nice way to keep you on set and let you know exactly what your battery situation is. But the power range, the little display is cool, but man, this thing has a trick up its sleeve that makes it absolutely, I think, an indispensable tool to have on set as a battery solution. And that is, it actually has output capacity beside the Sony NP belts on the back. And if you look here, it's actually got a USB-C in and out on the bottom, and it's got an additional USB-A output port on the top. And this means you can charge and power stuff with the battery just as a standalone capacity. This essentially becomes a portable power brick that really lets you get away with a lot. And the first way where I think you'll really see this really useful is if you're someone like me that ends up using battery operated lights on set. Now this is one of those things, I have so many little battery operated lights that I use on set all the time. And as you can see, I have to charge these via a USB-C. Well, if you're on a set all day, man, you can sometimes push the limits of what the battery is on these sets. And what I love about this, I have a small portable thing now that I can take any USB-C cable, I can plug that in, and I can now power my light from the USB-C on here and keep it going. It really, really extends the day on a set, takes away so much stress. I cannot tell you how much I've already been using these as a light source just to get by. And it's not only if the batteries are dead, a lot of times this is peace of mind. Like you'll have a light that has an internal battery, but you just don't know if it's gonna last quite as long. Let's say you can probably get about an hour or so and you don't know if the interview with the setup and stuff is gonna go quite that long. Having this connected to your lights and out of mind just gives you that kind of peace of mind knowing that your lights in the background are going to be able to last for the day. But it serves one other area that's super important. Now here I have a Canon R5C, which is a notorious battery hog. As a matter of fact, if I go over and see, you can see right now the red light is blinking telling me my battery's about to run out on my camera. But check this out, if I plug this in, boom. Now, all of a sudden, red light is gone. Why is that? Because now I am charging my camera from the battery. And the best part is if I turn this around, you will see here that I still have all of my Ninja capacity, but now I'm in a situation where I can charge my Canon R5C. This is one of those things that is an absolute godsend if you are on a set, because if you're someone that has like a Canon R5C, you're guaranteed to go through the batteries or any other camera like that. And what's nice is knowing you have the ability that has a battery that has this kind of capacity that can not only power your Atomos, but it can charge this. And I haven't done any like scientific tests, but just in my rough gauge of this, if I'm charging an R5C and using an Atomos, I can still get almost 2 hours from this Atomos on this battery while I charge my battery up, which is enough for me to get a lot of just typical interview type situations that I find myself in. There's also one other area I do feel I need to point out, and that is going to be the price of this battery. Now, right now you can get these on sale for $67, which is about a third of the price of a big high capacity Sony battery that actually has less capacity than the SmallRig battery. That means you can get 3 of these for the price of one Sony battery that has actually less capacity than one. So the value you get from this is just astounding. I don't know how they were able to create a battery like this on such an incredible price point, but it's just one of those things if you need to increase your power capacity and don't want to break a bank, it's another really, really good tool for you to have. Okay, so whenever I do a review of any piece of equipment, I always like to point out any room for improvement or cons that you need to be aware of if you're thinking about purchasing something like this. And it's just one of those times, I really had a hard time finding anything about this battery that I thought needed to be improved or I didn't like, just because it did everything that you needed to do really well. I'd have to say if there's anything that some people may be taken aback with is just that it's a little bit big. I mean, this is a big battery, but as you can see here, I have a typical Sony battery that I've been using for years, and you can see the form factor, it's not that much different. It's a little bit taller. This is a much higher capacity. So some people may be a little bit taken aback by the size. I'll be honest, I've been running this on gimbals, I've been running this on rigs, you name it, and I haven't had any issue with this little, extra inch of difference in height, but some people might. That's the only thing I can really think. But besides that, it's just really a solid product that I don't really see any real issues with. I really enjoyed using it. So this is one of those things that really just unlocks so much of what your equipment can do. And that's what you want a battery to do. A battery is a tool that moves you along. And I've never really even thought about turning one of these into a output. That makes it like a V-mount, mini V-mount type situation. And if you're someone out there that has found yourself needing to basically up your power game, but you don't want to go invest in V-mounts, or you're not kind of confused about getting all the cables and where all that stuff goes in, but you have a lot of stuff with Sony stuff, this NP mount battery kind of solves a lot of those games. So once again, I think this is a Personally, a home run hit for SmallRig. I think this really answers the needs of what a lot of filmmakers out there need power-wise to continue to up their game and continue to live as a commercial shooter. Anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Leave me notes and comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.